The current background check system is a mess. And you may have heard many times, particularly during the election in 2016, that there's 3 million dangerous or prohibited people that have been stopped from buying guns because of background checks. That's simply false. What they should say is that there have been 3 million initial denials, and that almost all of those are mistakes. There were 73,000 denials. There were 42 cases referred for prosecution, and they had 13 convictions. 13 convictions out of 73,000 denials. You say, how can that be? Do they just not want to enforce the law when these people who are prohibited try to buy a gun? No. It's one thing to stop somebody who's a felon from buying a gun. It's another thing to stop somebody simply because they have a similar name to a felon from buying a gun. And the way the NICS system works is they look for phonetically similar names. So, you know, Smith is a very common name in the United States, but you could have Smith with an I or Smith with a Y and an E. Phonetically, they're the same, right? And as far as the government's concerned, that's the same name. And it's something that can be fixed easily, but they won't fix it.
ロット氏は経済学者としてスタンフォード大学やイェール大学など複数の大学で教鞭をとってきた。もともとは銃規制推進派だったが、銃犯罪について詳しく調べる中で、銃を持つことが犯罪を抑制すると考えるようになったという。
Over 98% of the mass public shootings in the United States since 1950 have taken place in areas where general citizens were banned from having guns. You know, these so-called gun-free zones. You know, we have areas like schools or other places where guns have been banned. They're not allowed. And we've set those rules up to try to make people safe. But the problem is these people who do these attacks, they may be crazy in some sense, but they're not stupid. They try to pick places where they know their victims can't defend themselves. You know, the Batman movie theater shooter, his original target was going to be Denver International Airport, but he checked and he found about all the armed security there, and he was worried that he'd be stopped before he could kill people. Well, I think the best way of doing it is to get rid of the gun-free zones. Police know that they virtually always arrive on the crime scene after the crimes occurred. And the question becomes, what should people do when they're having to confront a criminal by themselves? You know, you say 8-minute response time would be great, but that's assuming you can even make the phone call. What you find is that by far the safest course of action is to have a gun.
アメリカにはすでに3億丁を超える銃が出回っており、すべてを回収することは難しい。国土が広いアメリカではすぐに警察が駆けつけるわけではなく、自己防衛のために銃が必要という主張も理解できる。また、銃は憲法で保障された権利であり、アメリカの文化と歴史の象徴でもある。
This is my newest one, the 2A armament AR-15. This is the current one that we're building for competition in the 2018 season, and it weighs 5 pounds, so it's very, very light. I was really excited when I got this. This is the same 9mm that John Wick uses in John Wick 2.
サウスカロライナ州に住むシャイアン・ロバーツ。彼女は13歳ながら射撃大会の成人の部で優勝するほどの腕前だ。雑誌の表紙を飾ったこともあり、サイン会を開けば長蛇の列ができる。
I knew that one of the biggest issues that happens with accidents with children is because they don't know anything about firearms. And I knew that I had firearms in the house, and I knew that I wanted them to know and understand that they can be very dangerous. They have to be respected. You have to be very careful with them. So, yeah, I mean, that was my biggest goal. I never expected that Cheyenne was going to get to where she is in this as a sport.
He showed me a shooting video of Tori Nanaka, which is one of my idols, and she was doing a competition, and he's like, well, do you want to do this? And I said yes. I was 9 and I won the New Jersey.
You got second place. You didn't win.
Yeah, second place in the New Jersey State Rimfire Challenge, and that was the first match that I ever went to.
That was the adult division. She got second in the women's division. So, in 4 years, she's won 2 women's titles in 2 different states.
シャイアンの着るユニフォームには銃販売店の名前が並ぶ。競技を続けたい選手とクリーンなイメージを演出したい銃販売店は切っても切れない関係だ。
I'm a single parent. I mean, this is you're probably looking at about $10,000 worth of firearms right here. I mean, it's easily over $1,000 a month in ammunition just to practice.
That's not for the competitions either.
Then there's the expenses of a hotel to go to a match, the match fees, the gas to drive there, the food. It's a very expensive sport. So I wouldn't be able to give her these opportunities if it wasn't for the sponsors.
In the future, I'd like to be in the military or a police officer because the military is a big thing in our family. There was a whole bunch of people that I didn't necessarily know but are in the family, and I want to do the right thing for the country. If I go into the military, there is a possibility that I would have to kill somebody face to face, but I haven't fully thought about that, and it's not fully certain yet. And I still have a few more years to go, so I still have a few more years to think about that. And
maybe a better way to think about it is, if you were home from school,
yeah,
and somebody broke in,
yes,
would you stop them?
Yes, I would absolutely stop them if I had to, because my brother and my dog and my father are all in jeopardy of being hurt, and I'm in jeopardy of being hurt, and I don't want that to ever happen. So if that came to the time, yes, I would do that, absolutely.
銃乱射事件が起きるたびに叫ばれる規制強化。多くのメディアも銃規制強化を訴える。だが、銃規制反対派にはメディアの報道が偏っていると映るようだ。
There was a story of a young boy who was 10 years old, whose mother was a drug addict and had left the area, and his grandmother was taking care of him. The gang leader had come over, stabbed the grandmother in the stomach, had a knife to her throat, and was going to kill her unless she told him where she kept her money and the jewelry. Well, the young boy whose father had died a year earlier from cancer, before the father had died, he had taken the boy shooting and trained him how to shoot a gun. Well, he went up, got the grandmother's gun, came down and fatally shot the gang leader that was there. She said that she's only alive today because the grandson was able to fire the gun. Seemed like a great story, a heroic young kid doing that. It got 250 words in the back of a newspaper, but it still creates somewhat of a misimpression about people in their minds about crime generally.